And welcome back, and it is the 7th of April, further maths 5 a day. Let's just jump straight in. Right, first one. L1 is parallel to and passes through this point. Find the coordinate of the point. Okay, now, I was going to say two ways. There's obviously many ways of doing this question. Way one is I could observe the gradient of my line. So imagine moving the 7y. In fact, actually, let's write it out. So if I write 5x equals 7y plus 31, then divide by 7, my gradient's going to be 5 over 7. So I could do that, and then I could do y equals mx plus c, solve for 4 and 16. But actually I don't need to, because I know a bit of A level more than GCSE here. I know 5x minus 7y equals c is just a set of lines which have the same gradient, which basically just move up based on what the c value is. So in other words, I can use the 4, so put the 4 in here, and the 16 in order to work out what my c term is. So I don't need to do the whole sort of go around in the circle of finding out what the gradient is. So if I put those values in, that gives me 5 times 4, which is 20, minus 7 times 16, which is 112. Yes, it is, equals c. And 20 minus 112 is going to be minus 92, which means that, what am I trying to do? The equation, I haven't finished yet. So the equation is 5x minus 7y equals minus 92. Now, the question where it says, what's the coordinates of the point where L1 intersects the x-axis? In other words, where y equals 0 because it hits the x-axis. So therefore 5x equals minus 92, which means x equals minus 92 over 5. So the coordinates are minus 92 over 5, 0. And that is it. Question done. Good question, that one. I like that question. Next question. Okay, so it's a factor theorem question. It specifically tells you what to do. So you need to be using the words and mentioning it correctly. So I'm going to start by saying that this is equal to f of x. Just makes the whole thing easier. Then I'm going to say f of minus 1, in other words, the negative of this number here, is equal to, well, minus 1 cubed is minus 1. Minus 1 squared is 1, so take away 1. Take away 50 minus is plus 50. And then take away 48, well, that gives me 0. And then a clear statement as f of minus 1 equals 0 by factor theorem. In other words, I'm using the factor theorem. Therefore, x plus 1 is a factor of f of x. I've used a factor theorem. I've shown it. I'm happy with that. Next question. Oh, actually, it's continuation. Solve this here. Now, I'm going to come back. I'm going to say f of x. I'm going to do my sort of by inspection, not guessing, because I'm using sort of intuition to work it out. So I know x plus 1 is a factor. What do I do to x to get x cubed? Well, I multiply by x squared. What do I do to 1 to get minus 48? Well, I multiply by minus 48. So far, so good. Then for the hard bit. What do I need to multiply? Well, this times this is minus 48x, but I need minus 50x. So therefore I need to take away another 2x. So therefore it must be 1 times minus 2x, which is going to give me the right values. And that's it. Happy with that one. Now, still not done because it says solve. So if I continue to factorize, that's going to be x plus 1 times, well, that's 6 and 8, isn't it? So it's going to be x minus 8, x plus 6. Which means the answer to the question to solve is x is equal to minus 1 plus 8 or minus 6. And that is it. Question done. Not a good question, that one. I like that question. Next question. The equation of a curve is, gives me a curve. Point P on the curve, the tangent at P. Okay, so basically, where's the gradient equal minus 9? What are the coordinates? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work out y expanded. So that's going to be x squared plus 5 x minus 6, which means dy dx, differentiate x squared is 2x, differentiate 5x is 5, differentiate minus 6 goes away, which means this is my gradient function. But I know the gradient's equal to minus 9 because it tells me in the question. I take away 5 from both sides, which means that 2x is equal to minus 14, divide by 2, which means x is equal to minus 7. But that's not a coordinate, that's just an x value. So therefore, take my x value, put it back into the y equation to get my y value. So y is equal to minus 7 minus 1 is minus 8. And minus 7 plus 6 is minus 1. And minus 1 times minus 8 is 8. Which means my coordinates are going to be minus 7 and 8. And that is it, question done. Again, good mix of questions today. I'm going to really have to stop saying that, but really good mix of questions. Let me know how they went for you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks all.